Good day everyone, I'm James Louis Sirison from BSE English 4A, and our subject focus is speech and chatter art. For our question number 1, this concept in the component of communication refers to interpret the information it received. So letter A, is it feedback? Letter B, is it receiver? Letter C, is it context? Or letter D, audience? Okay, I'll give you 10 minutes to think what's the answer. Okay, time's up. Okay, for our number 1, the answer is letter V, receiver, because they are the one who interpret and receive the info of the source. And now let's go back to the rationalization. Why not feedback? Because feedback, they are the one who send back the message to the source. Now it also not the context, because the context talks about the information or the message itself. Now audience, it is not also, because they are the one who witnessing how the message or the information travels from sources to the receiver. Now ball pens up if we are clear. Okay, thank you. Now let's proceed to the number 2. Okay, for the number 2, this component of communication focus on blocking the main idea of the information that the sources intended to mean. So here is our choices. Letter A, environment. Letter B, message. Letter C, interference. And lastly, letter D, channel. Okay, I'll give you again 10 seconds to think what's the answer. Okay, time's up. Now let's answer. So our answer for the number 2 is letter C, interference. Because interference refers as well known as noise that makes the interruption of the message from source become blocked or change its meaning that the receiver receives. That's why the answer is interference. Now let's proceed to the rationalization. Why not environment? Because environment refers to the settings. It was not also the message, because message itself is information that the source shared about. And lastly, it is not channel, because channel refers to the concept of how the message travels from source to receiver. Now, are we clear, class? Are we clear? Okay, ball pens up. Okay, can we proceed to number 3? Okay, now let's proceed to number 3. For number 3, this type of barrier inputs emotional and psychological factors to the source and receiver. Okay, for our choices, we have letter A, semantic barrier. Letter B, we have organizational barrier. Or letter C, psychological barrier. And lastly, letter D, we have personal barrier. Okay, I'll give you 15 seconds to think what's the answer for question number 3. Okay, time's up. Now let's answer. So the answer for the question number 3 is letter C, psychological barrier. Why? Because this concept of barrier focus on the mental state of both source and receiver. They tend to give barriers or mental blocks to both receiver and so to the sources of the message or information. Now, let's proceed to the rationalization. It was not semantic barrier because it focused on problem to the translation, and based on the question, it not talking about translation, right? It talking about mental state or psychological concept. That's why it was not the answer, not semantic barrier. Now, it's not also organizational because it focuses on concept of organization where they block the message by not having organized information presented to the group of people or to the receiver. And also not personal barrier because it focuses on the personal hindrance of both parties. Okay, now are we clear? Are you sure? Okay, pens up so we can proceed to the question number 4. Okay, now let's proceed to the question number 4. Okay, now for number 4, question number 4, according to McCornack 2014, this is a process of sharing and conveying messages and information. So for our choices, for letter A, we have research, letter B, communication, letter C, speech, and lastly, letter D, all of the above. Okay, now I'll give you 15 seconds to think what is the answer. Okay, time's up, class. Ballpens up. Okay, let's answer. Okay, for the answer of question number 4, the answer is letter B, communication, because communication is the one that shows the process how the message travel from source to receiver. And now let's proceed to the rationalization. Why not research? Because research are more on gathering of information that shows credibility, and also speech, it represents information to the masses. So that's why the answer is communication and it's not research and speech. Now, class, are we clear? Okay, ballpens up so we can proceed to question number 5. No more question, violent reaction, clarification. Are you sure? Okay, let's proceed to the question number 5. Okay, now let's proceed to the question number 5. This type of level of communication involve one person or the idea of self-talk. Self-talk. Okay, our choices here, we have A, group communication, letter B, mass communication, letter C, intrapersonal communication, or letter D, all of the above. Okay, I'll give you 15 seconds to think what is the answer. Okay, class, pens up. Okay, now let's answer the question number 5. Okay, for the answer of question number 5, the answer is letter, yes, Joanna, letter C, intrapersonal communication. Why? Because this concept triggers by difficulty situation that leads us to talk to ourselves by helping to relieve it and focus to our tasks. So, intrapersonal communication, it was triggered by difficult situation where we tend to self-talk to relieve ourselves. That helps us to maintain our focus on the information or to the speech that we are presenting. So that's why the answer is intrapersonal communication. Now let's proceed to the rationalization. Why does not the answer is not group communication? Because in the idea of group communication, it involves number of people that helps you share your ideas in one another. While the mass communication is involved technology to help share on message to a group of people. Now, are we clear? Are you sure? No more questions, clarifications about question number 5? Are you sure? Okay, pens up. Okay, thank you, class. Now let's proceed to the question number 6. Okay, class. Okay, class, now let's proceed to the question number 6. This type of levels of communication involves two persons that can be intimate or formal. Okay, so our choices we have for letter A, non-verbal communication, and for letter B, we have public communication, and letter C, we have interpersonal communication, and lastly, for letter D, we have all of the above. Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds to think what is the answer for our question number 6. Okay, class, time's up. Okay, let's answer the question number 6. Okay, so the answer for the question number 6 is letter C, interpersonal communication, because this type of communication is most likely applied for daily conversation with your friends or teacher that need two person only. So, why does the answer interpersonal communication? Because it involves only two people that talking about daily conversation that can be either formal or intimate. So now class, are we clear? Okay, let's proceed to the rationalization. It's not nonverbal communication because nonverbal focus on body gesture or language, while public communication is that you are communicating to group through oral or written form. Now, are we clear on the question number 6? Are you sure? No more clarification, side comments, question about question number 6? Okay, if no more question, let's proceed to the question 7. Okay, now let's proceed to the question number 7 of speech and theater arts. So for the question number 7, we have this activity indicates passive process of learning to understand the information and activates the process of criticizing. So our choices for letter A, we have communication. Letter B, body movement. Letter C, listening. Or letter D, all of the above. Okay, class, I'll give you 10 seconds to think what is the answer for our question number 7 of speech and theater arts. Okay, class, ballpens up. Let's answer the question number 7. Okay, so the answer is letter C, listening, because listening is a passive activity where you use your sense of hearing to hearing, okay, to analyze and understand the information that you are listening. Okay, you are criticizing the information, and you are thinking if you able to understand what's the speaker talking about. So you are activating your listening skills to digest the information that you are listening. So that's why the answer is letter C, listening. Now let's proceed to the rationalization. Why not communication? Because communication is a process of sharing ideas and information. And body movement, it focuses on the movement that the body wants to express, or body language. Okay. Now, are we clear on our question number 7? No more clarification. Are you sure? Okay, pens up so we can proceed to the question number 6. Okay, class. Okay, we are right ahead to finish our quiz review about speech and theater arts. So now, without further ado, let's proceed to the question number 8. Miss Florentino is talking with Miss Porca about to the upcoming big event that is happening in the campus. What level of communication presented in the situation? So our choices here, we have letter A, intrapersonal. Okay, class. So the answer for number 8, we have the letter A, interpersonal communication, because interpersonal communication, it involves two individuals where they are sharing information, or they are they are talking to analyze the information. And I said earlier, interpersonal communication, it involves two individuals that sharing thoughts or infos. And now let's proceed to the rationalization. Why not intrapersonal communication? Because intrapersonal communication is that it focus on you. You are talking to yourself. You are referring that you are um, relieving yourself to the intense situation that is happening to you right now. That is the concept of intrapersonal communication. That's not the answer, because in the situation on number 8, there's a communication between two individuals. That's why it's not intrapersonal communication. And then why not group communication? Does Miss Florentino talking to a group? No, right? That's why it's not the answer. Okay, now why not mass communication? Does Miss Florentino using technology to present her speech to the group? No, right? So that's why that's not the answer. Okay, are we clear? Okay, no more clarification, violent reaction about question number 8. Okay, pens up so we can proceed to the question number 9. Okay, thank you. Okay, now let's proceed to the question number 9 of speech and theater art. So, okay. So for number 9, we have Naomi is waving to her friend Marian, Danny, Romeline, and Everlyn to gesture them that Naomi reserved seats in the restaurant. What type of communication is presented? So our choices here, we have A, written communication, letter B, nonverbal communication, letter C, verbal communication, and letter D, visual communication. Okay, I'll give you 5 seconds because it was too easy. Okay, I know you can answer it right away, but I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay. Okay, now time's up. Ball pens up because we're going to answer the question number 9. So what is the answer for question number 9? We have letter V, nonverbal communication, because this type of communication is that it focus on body movement that the individual or the people wants to mean. Okay, it use body movement or body language to signals what kind of what does the people want to express. Okay, so that's why the answer is nonverbal communication. So now let's proceed to the rationalization. Why not written communication? Because from its root words written, there's no involvement of written concept. So not also verbal, because based on the situation, Naomi doesn't say anything. And lastly, for our letter D, it was not also visual communication, because Naomi does not use any picture to show her friends that she reserved them seats. Okay, now are we clear to the question number 9? Are you sure? No more clarification? Violent reaction? Okay, let's proceed to our last number. Number 10. Okay? Okay, now let's proceed to our last question of our quiz review, to the subject focus, speech and theater arts. For number 10, we have Marian and Danny are sharing information to understand the lesson that Ma'am Naomi discussed last meeting. What concept is being presented in the situation? So our choices here, we have A, communication, B, writing, C, reading, or D, all of the above. Okay, I'll give you 5 seconds to answer. Okay, class, ball pens up. Okay, let's answer our last question. Number 10. Okay. So, for the answer of our last question, number 10, is letter A. Okay, letter A. Because communication is a process of exchanging information to further understand the lesson or concept that you are talking. So based in number 10, Marian and Danny, is that they using the concept of communication by sharing information to understand what Ma'am Naomi discussed last meeting. So that's why the answer is communication. Now let's proceed to the rationalization. Why not writing? Because there's no involvement of writing. They not write anything, and also not reading because there is no action that shows they are reading a particular book or article and such to understand further what Ma'am Naomi discussed last meeting. Now, are we clear? No more questions, clarifications? Okay, and that's all, class, for our quiz review in our speech and theater arts. And I hope you a good Wednesday, and see you next meeting.